If you're still checking Credit Karma and thinking that's your real score, you've already lost the game in 2026. Most people are stuck in the 600s or low 700s because they're following advice from a decade ago. But the rules of the battlefield have changed. Lenders just upgraded their entire brain. They've switched to a model called FICO 10T. If you think of a traditional credit score like a single photo of your finances, FICO 10T is more like a time-lapse video of your last 24 months. It doesn't just care where you are today, it cares how you got there. Now let me tell you, my goal today is simple. I have nothing to sell you, no courses, no software, no special templates. I just want to help you join the top 1% of credit-savvy earners. By the end of this video, I'm going to show you the all zeros except one method. It moves scores 100 points faster than the basic tips you've heard 1,000 times. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building a financial profile that makes lenders chase you, hit subscribe and let's open up the blueprint. Part 1. The Death of the Snapshot, FICO 10T. For years, we lived in a world where you could manipulate your score right before applying for a loan. You'd pay off a card, wait 30 days, and bam, your score would spike because the old FICO 8 model only saw that single snapshot. But FICO 10T and Vantage Score 4.0 changed the game. The T stands for trended data. Lenders are now looking at your behavior over 24 months or longer. They want to see if your balances are trending up, trending down, or staying the same. This is why your score might be staying low even if you pay your bills on time. If you've been debt recycling, meaning you use a personal loan to pay off credit cards only to charge those cards back up, the new algorithm will flag you as high risk. In 2026, consistent habits matter more than short-term fixes. The algorithm is looking for stability. It wants to know if you are someone who lives on the edge of your limits or someone who manages them with precision. Part 2. The AZEO Method, the algorithm's sweet spot. If you want to move the needle immediately, you need to understand the AZEO Method. Most people think that having a zero balance on all their cards is the goal. It's not. If every card shows a zero balance, the algorithm sometimes thinks your accounts are inactive. And it can actually lower your score. Lenders want to see you have credit and that you use it but just a bit. Here's the move. You pay all of your credit cards down to a zero balance, except for one card. On that one card, you leave a tiny balance, ideally between 1% and 3% of your limit. For example, if you have a $1,000 limit, you want that card to report a $20 balance. Not zero, and definitely not 300. This signals to the computer that you are a transactor who uses credit but never relies on it. By doing this strategically right before your statement closing date, not your due date but your closing date, you're telling the three major bureaus that you have a perfect utilization ratio. This is the fastest way to squeeze every possible point out of your current limits without opening a single new account. Part 3. The Credit Union Side Door, the Secured Loan Hack. Now, if you have a thin file or you're rebuilding from scratch, you need more than just a credit card. You need mix of credit. This is where the Credit Union Side Door comes in. Big banks will look at a 580 score and show you the exit. But credit unions in 2026 are increasingly serving as the bridge for people with non-traditional income. There is a specific tool called a share secured loan or savings secured loan. Here's the hack. You take $1,000 of your own savings and put it into a savings account at a credit union, like Navy Federal or a local community branch. Once the loan hits your credit report, you pay off 90% of it immediately, like the next day. This leaves you with a tiny balance, maybe $100, which you put on autopay for the next 2 years. You'll be left with a tiny monthly payment that builds massive payment history for less than the cost of a coffee. You get the points for having an installment loan. You get the points for perfect payment history, and you get your original money back as the loan is paid off. Just one warning. When you pay that first 90%, you must tell the credit union to keep the loan open and not to advance the due date. If they close the account, you lose the long-term history. Part 4. Turning silent expenses into credit, rent and utilities. In 2026, paying rent without reporting it is like working a job and refusing a paycheck. Your rent is likely your biggest monthly expense, yet for decades it did nothing for your score, but that's changed. Newer models like Vantage Score 4.0 And FICO 10T specifically include rent and utility history to help people establish scores almost instantly. Tools like Experian Boost, Rent Reporters, or Boom allow you to link your bank account so the bureaus can see your on-time rent and phone payments. This is especially powerful if you're currently credit invisible. Some renters have even reported seeing their scores established at 600 or higher, almost overnight, just by letting the system see the bills they were already paying. But a word of caution: many of these services only report positive-only data, meaning they only show the wins. However, if your landlord uses a system that reports full file, a late rent payment could hurt you just as much as a late credit card payment. Always check if the service you're using is positive only to protect your downside. Part 5. The Authorized User Strategy and the 2026 Limits. You've probably heard of piggybacking, becoming an authorized user on someone else's card to inherit their history. It used to be a magic shortcut. It still works, especially for young adults or immigrants, but the new FICO 10T model is much smarter about it. It can now distinguish between an authorized user who is a family member and someone who just bought a trade line from a stranger. If you're going to do this, the primary cardholder must have a long record of on-time payments and a very high credit limit. If they max out that card or miss a payment, your score will sync with theirs. I recommend aligning on a goal. Tell the person, "I just need to reach a 700 score, then you can remove me." This keeps the risk window small for both of you. Part 6. Myth busting, the Section 609 loophole, and more. Let's talk about all the so-called secrets people try to sell you. You've probably seen TikToks about the Section 609 dispute letter as a legal loophole to erase your debts. Here's the cold, hard truth. Section 609 is real, but it's not a magic eraser. Section 609 only gives you the right to request information about what's in your file. It's a disclosure law, not a dispute law. The actual right to dispute errors is in Section 611. If someone sells you a 609 form and promises it will force the removal of an accurate late payment, they're lying. You cannot erase accurate negative history. What you can do is dispute inaccuracies, like a late payment that was actually on time or an account opened through identity theft. In 2026, the credit bureaus have faster dispute timelines and better documentation requirements. So being factual and detailed in your letters is far more effective than using a magic template from the internet. Another major win for consumers in 2026. Medical debt under $500 no longer appears on your credit reports at all. If you see a small medical bill dinging your score, that is an error you can and should dispute immediately. Now Part 7. The human side of credit. I want to end with something that doesn't involve math. I've been there. I know how it feels to see a declined screen or to feel like your financial future is trapped by a number. Your credit score is not a reflection of your character. It is a financial tool, a math problem that can be solved with the right architecture. You don't need to be a guru or spend thousands of dollars on repair services. You just need to stop fighting the algorithm and start working with it. If you start the AZEO method today, look into a secured loan at a local credit union, and get your rent reported, you aren't just fixing a score. You're building a system that works while you sleep. This channel is new, and I'm on a mission to document the exact roadmap to financial freedom in this 2026 economy. We're moving from credit scores to $10,000 months, and this is just the first step. If you found even one thing in this video that gave you hope or a clear next move, hit that subscribe button and join the community. We're building something different here. No fluff, just the systems. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.